everybody, and welcome to Through the Lobby, episode 2 with the amazing Doyle Collection. I'm Stacey Rebecca Carlson, and I'm the founder and managing director at Goho. And we're, for those of you who don't know, we're a PR, marketing and events agency. We're based in London, but we've got our clients all over the world and do events all over the world. But we've brought together this series to try and just maintain some communication and to let you guys at home see inside some of our favourite hotels and speak to our favourite hoteliers. So last week we had Shangri-La at the Shard, and this week we are joined by Danielle from the Doyle Collection. Welcome, Danielle. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Happy Friday.
That's okay. I know. Yeah, happy Friday. Have you got your drink there?
I do.
We're doing our Friday cheers. Mine is alcoholic.
One.
No, yeah. I've got vodka and Diet Coke, everybody. I am on the sauce, don't worry. I'm sure none of you would be worried that I wasn't. But yes, thanks for joining us again for the second in our series. It's going really well, getting some amazing feedback. We're going to run through the questions that we planned beforehand. And then if any of you want to take part, please message in the chat box if you've got any feedback for us, and in the questions if you've got any questions for Danielle that you'd like me to ask her. So let's, do you want to introduce yourself first of all, Danielle?
Yes, so I'm Danielle. I've been with the Doyle Collection for 5 years now. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. I started off in events and meetings, but with a huge focus on weddings at the Bristol Hotel in Bristol. That was where I kind of really fell in love with events. Weddings were really terrifying, but really satisfying when it all kind of comes together. Then I went into corporate sales, again with the Doyle Collection. I loved corporates. You can kind of mother a corporate account. You kind of get to know them. A lot of these corporates spend more time in a hotel than they do at home. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that piece. And then I discovered the colourful and weird, wacky world of the mice industry. So I've been with mice for 3 years now for the Doyle Collection. So that's kind of my background. And for those of you who don't know about the Doyle Collection, we are privately owned. We're 8 hotels, and we're located in Ireland, London, Bristol, and Washington, DC.
Awesome. Should we get going then?
Yeah, I've got some. Yeah.
Yeah, you got some slides ready, so pictures to talk us through. So first of all, we've got and just before actually we get started, I was just going to say to all the listeners, if you stay online, we're going to have a competition at the end. I'm going to ask you a question, and then we'll pick one of the correct answers at random. You have to be watching live to win the prize, but the Doyle Collection have kindly donated a 1-night stay for 2 with breakfast at any Doyle Collection hotel, which is a pretty amazing prize, obviously for after the lockdown finishes, but that's something that you can really look forward to. So stay online and make sure you're listening, or maybe listened already. So how much does it cost to stay at your hotel, Danielle, or hotels, plural?
Yes, so I'm sure you get this all the time. It very much varies on day of the week, seasonality. But you're looking at, so we do group rates, and for a group around low season would be around £280, Inc. VAT and breakfast, and then right up to 410 in the very peak season in the summertime. And those rates are based on our classic rooms. And then we go right through to deluxe bedrooms as well, which I've got some images here. These are our fabulous bars and terraces that we've recently had renovated. So I would just add in that we are a little bit different in that we are owned by 3 sisters. And our sisters don't take any profit from our hotels whatsoever. It's all ploughed right back into the hotels themselves. So we're constantly having renovations and investments. And these classic rooms here, which are the rates that I just quoted, there are newly refurbished rooms just a couple of months ago finished. So these are our classic rooms. Okay. And then we go through to luxury studio suites. Yeah, I think the bathtub's a bit Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. I'm a fan of the bathtub.
Yeah, I really like baths.
And then our rooftop terrace suites at the Marylebone.
Wow.
So we have 3 of these as well. The roof is fully retractable. We don't always have the weather in the UK.
Yeah. Can you hold events in those spaces? The suites? Okay.
Yes, so we have 3 of them. We can do private drinks receptions. The only thing is that we say cold canapes only, because there's quite a couple of floors for the hot food to come up through. So.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So just kind of moving on from that, I guess, just to talk about your event spaces. We've talked just really briefly about the suites, which obviously you encourage to have parties there, I guess. Hopefully there'll be lots of those after the lockdown. I'm trying to encourage all our clients to like have a party, even if it's like, oh, it's going to probably have to be quite small, but those private suites I think could be like the ideal place. So hopefully we'll get lots of inquiries about those.
I think definitely social events. Like I think, yeah, my friends are just dying to see each other, and any old excuse to kind of get a drink.
Definitely. But yeah, what about other formal event spaces?
Yeah, so all of our hotels are very different. Not one hotel is like the other. I think that's what makes us stand out the most, and that our event spaces are unique, and they're unique in that it's on purpose. It's to do with the neighborhood and the heritage of the building. The best way to kind of showcase that is if you compare the Marylebone and the Bloomsbury. So the Marylebone is just off on Bond Street. It's very much, the clientele here is high-end fashion, beauty, tech, and the event space, we could get really creative. So all renovated in the last 2 years. They're really bright, colourful, fun, quirky. There really isn't any decor you need to do to these event spaces. And they really just reflect the kind of creativity that's kind of taken place at the hotels themselves. I think time is always of the essence in London. So every meeting space divides into two. The AV is very cleverly hidden away. So you can go for your 9 to 5 meeting, 5 p.m. hits, you know, pull the mirror across, get rid of the AV. And this picture in particular, that bookcase is actually a fully stocked bar as well. Okay. So yeah, very much 5 o'clock, work hard, play hard. God forbid you ever go thirsty in one of our hotels.
Yeah, because that's a screen actually as well, isn't it, at the back there? I remember when we did the launch of Vogue Business, we had a drinks reception in that room, and we had a presentation and then got rid of it. Yeah. Good
really easy. It's all click share, so there's no leads kind of hanging around, and they've just really beautifully been done. We're really lucky. So one of our owners is a lady called Mrs. Gallagher, and she's also our head of design as well. So she's very much involved in all of this.
Okay.
And then if you compare that to the Bloomsbury, it's very different. So the Bloomsbury is a Grade 2 listed building. It was home to the Young Women's Christian Association when the building first opened. So it wasn't always a hotel, which means we've got these beautiful original ballrooms where the ladies would have held dinner dances, really tall ceiling heights and lots of natural daylight. Yeah. And as you can see from the decor, it's a little bit different. It's very fun, very bold. This was recently redesigned in October. So the ballroom is called the George V, and it was designed by an artist called Martin Ellis, and it's to reflect the king's travels around the world because he liked to travel. So you can see there's parrots and monkeys and tropical birds kind of hidden in the ceiling. Yeah. And it's just got that real wow factor when you walk in for I
know. I was just going to say that actually. I mean, your pictures are lovely, but having been to events there, when you walk in, you literally go, wow, because it's so colourful. And it's wallpaper, right? But it looks like painted murals, doesn't it?
It's hand painted wallpaper. So Martin Ellis actually designs the ivy. So they always have really big, bold, floral print. Yeah. So it's the same artist, and his brief for Mrs. Gallagher was George V and his travels. So it's quite fun. You'll never get bored if you are in a conference in the room. And I don't think the pictures, you can't really comprehend how large the event space is. That ceiling height is 5.4 meters, so it's quite sizable.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 ballrooms. So the Queen Mary Hall, again, tall ceiling height, and then because the building was the YWCA, you've got the original chapel, and then one of my favorites is the library. So this was renamed the Seamus Heaney Library after the Irish poet. He used to stay at the hotel, and the general manager asked if we could rename the library after him. So he wrote a letter. It's on the walls of the library, and he actually he sent some first edition books, which are also on the walls of the library there. So that meeting space is probably one of my favorite, and that it's always been a library. There's books that have been on those walls for the last 70 years.
Yeah, no, it is amazing, isn't it? Because when we came around actually last time, you showed you can open the books, can't you? And they're got the stamps in and everything from when
they've
it
got
was
handwritten when they've been checked in and out throughout the years, which is it's really interesting.
Yeah, and I love that room, and I love because the chapel just across the hallway, you can have a really nice drinks reception in it, and then move across, like you said, really simply, but it's a completely different vibe to the Marylebone, isn't it?
Yeah,
So why would you say our listeners should hold their event with you or there?
I think going back to kind of our Irish hospitality, in that even though we are independently owned, we're owned by an Irish family, and it's all in the detail, and I think there's just real love there. You're not just another number to us. What you do, like, we care, it matters. And even though we're a small brand, we are kind of still up there with, being voted best hotels in Ireland from Condé Nast and third in London. So, we're just a little bit different, and we really feel the love of the reinvestment coming back through from the owners as well.
Yeah. And I think as well, that's not, I wasn't going to say that's the reinvestment. I was more saying about the attention to detail and, the hospitality, and really trying to make sure we look after every single part of our clients' experiences. Every event I've been to any at your hotels or held, the food is amazing. Everything's done in quite a kooky way that's really memorable. So you do say, like, wow. And, your venues as well. I don't think we talked about it, but in the Bloomsbury, you've kind of got all these like hidden little quirks as well, haven't you? Which are like really great to take advantage of if you're holding an event there for your guests, Well, we could move on now to talk about what makes your hotel more different to others.
I think it's the story. Every room, every building has a story. So, the Bloomsbury was never supposed to be a hotel, and we've kind of ran with the character of it. But I think, it's a story. So the Bloomsbury, me and Stacey were talking about the old swimming pool, actually, that's underneath the basement level. So the meeting rooms, actually, they boarded up the original swimming pool. And it is still there. So when we have more renovations, the idea is that we will bring the spa and swimming pool back to life again.
Yeah, and that swimming pool is famous because apparently not an old one now, but a royal from the olden days learnt to swim there, didn't they?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, not an old
that's
one.
The story.
I don't think it's one that's alive still now that's old, but yeah, in the olden days. So dish the dirt then. Who's been your favourite guest?
This is a hard one. I think it's more the story of it. So the guest relations are the team that you really need to be speaking to, because they know who's coming, they know all the hidden names that they book under, and you never really know. They're very discreet. They'll never tell you who's staying until after they've stayed. So for that reason, it's a bit random. It was actually at the Bristol Hotel, and Usain Bolt, after he just finished at the Olympics, he booked himself into the Bristol, but he booked himself in via booking.com, not via anyone else, and just rocked up, like really normal, just really down to earth. And I think because everything's so hidden and secret all the time, I just loved that, he just booked on booking.com.
Yeah. Did people know who he was? Because we were talking last week about if people don't want to necessarily be recognised, you don't notice them, because if they're just getting on with it like everybody else, it doesn't, you don't notice them, do you?
Yeah, or usually they'll always book under with fake names. So I think because it was booking.com and it was so blatant, I think people, like the guest relations, definitely assumed that it wasn't Usain Bolt, and it was. Yeah.
Did he walk in and do his thing or not?
No,
or
it was
much
really
more
funny.
low-key than that?
he just checked in, and then this is funny. It was on the Bristol Post. He actually just went to KFC and just got some chicken. Oh no, KFC does not do good fried chicken compared to the US either. Like in New York, that's my go-to thing. I always go and get fried chicken and waffles is my favorite. Yeah, it was just bizarre. It was just it was random.
Okay, so in your opinion, what makes a great event?
For me, it's all about the personal touches. It's the unexpected. I think because we are a small chain, our kind of motto is that we love to say yes. And just because something hasn't been done before doesn't mean that it can't be done. We probably have less red tape in terms of getting to the powers to be above, and they kind of trust the sales team.
Yeah.
And I think it's the communication across the board, across all of the hotel. It's the guest relations. It's the doorman recognizing who you are, being briefed, this is the event, this is where they need to go. And I think housekeeping are kind of the unsung heroes of hotels. Yeah. I love, actually, when I check in at the Marylebone, so you always get your complimentary water in the room. You'll always get one still and one sparkling. And how everyone kind of throughout the hotel has these devices. I'm sure other hotels have them as well, where you're just kind of checking up on guests. So you can tell a lot from when a guest is staying in a room. So if you've got a group staying for 3 nights, and housekeeping are servicing your room and they notice that you're only drinking the peppermint tea or you're not using the coffee machine, they kind of reflect that throughout your stay. They'll put a note on your booking, and every time you stay, they'll make sure that you only get peppermint tea. So I love when I check into the Marley Boon, they only ever put 2 still bottles of water because they know I don't drink sparkling.
Oh.
Because at some point, someone has noticed that I never drink the sparkling and they've made the effort to put a note. And yeah, it's picked up on. It's so simple and small, but I think, yeah, I just get a warm feeling when I see those 2 still bottles of water.
Definitely, that is lovely. I do really like that. And also when you stay places and they kind of take the effort and time to learn your name and stuff, which always surprises me when you come back from one of the bars, which is usually obviously what I'm doing. But come back and they're like, "Hi, Miss Carlson," and I'm like, "Oh wow, I really like that you did that." So moving on from that, do you want to talk us through the most creative or the best event that you've ever held at one of your properties?
Yeah, I think I've got an image to go for this one. So this was at the Bloomsbury Club Bar, which is kind of a hidden treasure on the lower ground floor. And this was a pop-up event that we can do for private events as well. And it was all around the Bloomsbury set. So they were these group of bohemian writers and artists of the time who kind of rejected the Victorian religious beliefs. And they went in search of kind of this spiritual meaning of life. So the event was based around that. So there was 14 cocktails, which each they corresponded to 14 states of mind. So you could take a sip of the Parisian mist and have your spirits listed, or have a sip of the flaming venom to kind of vanish any envy you might be feeling at the time. Okay. So the mixologist will come over with these tarot cards and they'll kind of read your hidden emotion, and then they'll prescribe the right cocktail for you for the evening.
Wow.
Which the just whole creativity of the event itself, how it looked, like the menu, like the design, it was just, it was really cool.
That sounds really cool. I've always fancied myself as a bohemian as well. So maybe I think that should be a reopening party one for sure. Just try and recreate
well, we still need to celebrate your first birthday. So I'm sure we can try that in.
Yeah, we've got talking of competitions, we've got another competition online at the moment, actually. If people are after tickets to our belated first birthday party, hopefully we can celebrate it before we're 2. Otherwise, we're going to be partying and drinking an awful lot. But yeah, check out our social channels for that. And just talking about the Bloomsbury, I know I keep going. I mean, I love the Bloomsbury. I am a fan. The Coral Bar. We've got the Coral Bar. It was earlier in the pictures, actually, wasn't it?
I think I can I flip that?
Yeah, you can go backwards. Yeah.
Make people dizzy now.
But well, yeah, I love the coral.
So this is the coral room, yeah. So that was once reception. So when we had the renovations in 2017, this was reception. They moved it to the west side of the building, which was the original entrance, to make room for the coral room. It is bright coral. So the architect that designed the Bloomsbury was Sir Edward Lutyens. And apparently coral was one of his favourite colours. So it was Mrs. Gallagher kind of paying tribute to him. And that was the reason why it is bright coral. And it just kind of works. She's just such a visionary when it comes to having an eye for design.
It's not that picture, again, doesn't do it justice, does it?
No.
When you go in it, it's like, wow, it's another space. Wow. It's, Well, I love it as well because it's our company colours, obviously. So I'm always after trying to do an event there. What was I going to say? Oh, there's a chap, isn't there, at the moment who's living in the Bloomsbury while it's closed?
There is a core team that are kind of keeping an eye on all the hotels and making sure they're fine. So Sebastian is there at the moment, and he's putting out some cool videos of him kind of going behind the scenes. He had one the other day of him discovering the old swimming pool, like lifting up. He's braver than me. I don't think I'd be going down there.
No.
But so you can check those videos out on our social media as well.
Yeah, so follow the Instagram. I know I did as soon as you told me that. I was straight on there because I love seeing things that you probably shouldn't all the time. So that's really interesting. Thank you, Danielle. That's all our set questions, but we have had a couple. And anybody else, if you've got more questions, please post them for us. We've had one asking, what kind of activities could people do if they held their event with you? You know, what sort of team building or activities could the attendees take part in?
Any kind of, well, we don't have a lot of outdoor space in the London hotels, but with the ballrooms, we have done on-site cookery classes before, where you bring in like the cookery stations. We do a lot of well-being, yoga, that kind of thing. Yeah, I kind of mind block now.
You do the sort of slice of the city thing as well, where you can sort of learn.
Yeah, so our slice of the city is different per hotel, and that was all initiative around because London's kind of made it. Everyone thinks it's this big city, but it's kind of made up of small pockets of neighborhoods. Yeah. So our slice of the city is different per hotel. So, for example, at the Kensington, we'd arrange backstage passes for the Royal Albert Hall, or for the Bloomsbury, we arrange VIP tours of the Somerset House. So it's different per property, and for groups, we can arrange all of that as well for you. And it's all about just kind of experience and what the locals do in the neighbourhood. So actually, every hotel has a good shopper guide. I don't know if you've noticed these, Stacey. They're these little cute booklets, and they're in all the bedrooms. Mm-hmm. And you just go out shopping, and you get discounts for all the local boutiques that are in your area. And it's different per property. So the Marylebone obviously has different discounts to what the Bloomsbury does.
Yeah.
And free walk-in tours as well, we include.
Okay. That sounds nice. And what we've got, someone else has asked, do you do buyouts? So can they privatise your whole hotel, including the bars?
I do.
I'm always asking this, and you're like.
So we love to say yes, and I always ask the question. Always. Honestly, it's 90% of the time would be a no, because a lot of thought has gone into our bars and restaurants. I mean, if you look at the Dalloway Terrace at the Bloomsbury, it's one of London's most Instagrammed restaurants. Yeah. And we would never want our hotel guests to come and stay with us because they want to, experience a Dalloway in the coral room and then be told, no, you can't have it, or you can't walk in this night. So, yeah, I'd always ask the question, but it is.
Could a client book out, if they booked all the rooms, could they then have the bars and restaurants as well?
So it's always ask the question, but again, yeah, it's
It's difficult to know as well, isn't it? Because we're in this weird time and place, and everything's changing so rapidly, and we don't know what's going to happen. It is quite hard to say yes or no. But I mean,
well, for example, it's mainly been a no because I mean the Dalloway and the coral room are kind of their destination places. They're famous within their own right, so people will come to them and not even know we're a hotel. So again, it's that, restaurant always kind of being privatized, because I mean, the amount of requests we get to privatize the Dalloway, it would just always be private. But then actually at the moment, we do have inquiries for hotel buyouts for this August, which obviously we will look at.
Yeah. If they need an events company to help, some creative ideas as well for the delivery of that, then we're your people.
So it depends on the season, but most importantly, we'd never want to kind of tarnish our guest experience for people that are staying and not staying.
Yeah. And you can do smaller events like in the Dalloway Terrace and stuff as well. So, you can do everything, can't you, from small to
big. I mean, the Dalloway is two stories. So on the lower ground floor, you've got this undercover terrace, which was actually, it was bin storage. It was this ugly side of the building where we kept the bins. And Mrs. Gallagher said, I'm going to put a 3-story terrace there. And you kind of have to see it to believe it.
It is really lovely. It's kind of sort of open as well, isn't it? Are you allowed to smoke there?
Yeah, so they've got a cigar menu at the Bloomsbury Club. Yeah.
Check out my memory.
Much, yeah. I know, lucky.
I think I must spend far too much time. I do work, guys. I'm not just literally swanning around hotels the whole time.
Work related.
Yeah, exactly. It's work related, but at least I'm taking it all in. Just shows. we've got any more. We've got a question asking, is it true there's a swimming pool underneath the Bloomsbury? Yes, it is, Lucy.
Yes.
We've just been talking about it, and you can go over to their Instagram and
you
see
can
some...
see, yeah, so it's in so the lower basement level is where we've kind of got our standard, you know, boardrooms, like 9 to 5, you know, 4 walls and a door kind of spaces. And underneath that, you can kind of feel the floorboards creaking. So in this video, Sebastian pulls back the carpet and there's like this door in the floor. And yeah, you can go down and see. And they literally just floorboard over it. It's still there.
Wow. How long do you think that might be then until they reopen that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like I said at the beginning, our owners don't take any profit from us. So the investment is ongoing. So it's just the right time.
Yeah. And you've also, we haven't touched on them today, but you've also got properties. I mean, you talked about very briefly in your introduction, but we can maybe in like a month or like, well, in a few weeks, come back and look at some of those as well. Because obviously with your heritage and your background, you're starting from, you know, the 3 Irish sisters, it'd be really interesting. Well, if viewers are interested as well, to look at those Irish properties as well, if you're up for it.
Yeah, I mean, so we've got 2 in Dublin and 1 in Cork, and the Westbury in Dublin is probably our most famous. It's our 5-star flagship hotel right on Grafton Street. And it's a beautiful hotel, and it smells amazing. All of our hotels have the same scent. We have a Doyle Collection scent, but in particularly at the Westbury, you can really smell it.
Yeah. Oh, and we've just had a question. The last one, it'll probably be just asking, what's your favourite spot in any of your hotels?
I always get asked. I knew. For me, actually, oh, it's so hard. So all the bars are beautiful, but I think I love the BC Club at the Bloomsbury, mainly because it's hidden away and no one really knows it's there. So
yeah,
you
it's
can
a bit
go,
members club, isn't it?
yeah, like
type.
You go down to the basement level, you pull back these green, heavy velvet curtains, and it's just like stepping in a time warp. And I'm a fan of the 1930s, so yeah, the music, the way the mixologists are dressed, everything is just
yeah, and it's really nice. You have got that the bottom, the basement of the Delarey Terrace up at the side, so then you can pop out and smoke if you want, if you are a smoker.
Yeah,
I'm not,
so this is the extension of it, and then the actual bar is this one here.
Yeah, it is really lovely. It's like kind of like a really old swanky like gentleman's club, but
it
like
is definitely
private members club slash it's really cool. It's got a very exclusive vibe as well. Yeah. So I think we're just about done with the questions, and we're nearly at the end of the 30 minutes. So thank you everybody for joining and listening. If you've got any more questions, then please either put them in the chat there or email us at hello@thisisgoho.com, and we can pass them over to Danielle and get back to you. Also, if you've got any inquiries or you'd like to, you know, use us or the Doyle Collection for an event, please get in touch too, because that's what we're all here for. And so lastly, we've just got to announce who has won this stay. So the question is, how many hotels are there in the Doyle Collection? Please answer in the chat box.
And he'll be first.
Yeah, we do it as I'm just getting my random number generator up. I say it like I'm really technologically advanced, but
what's a number generator?
it's on Google. What did we do before Google, guys?
We used to argue things out and fall out.
I know. Right, give you another few seconds. That's just because I'd searched for the wrong thing. That's why I'm going to have a bit longer. Right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. The correct answer is 8, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correct answers. Sorry, Sahir, you were too late. Sorry, guys. Everyone's waiting in anticipation. And the winner is number 1, which is Kate Bullard. Well done.
Yay.
There you go. And she was first. So there we go. But I always like to do it on a random number generator just to make sure it's fair. So, Kate, if you can email us at hello@thisisgoho.com, we can sort that out for you. Obviously, it'll have to wait till after the lockdown and the hotels are open again. But yeah, enjoy it. Yeah, I would. If you want anyone to go with you, then me or one of the team will come. Maybe just for the drink first. But
well, we love having people in, so maybe you can all come for cocktails with Stacey and the team.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later.
Everybody on this webinar today. So there you go. Thank you so much, Danielle. And we'll hopefully see you again soon. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll see you again next Friday. See you then. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.